Kia ora. Welcome again to the RebeccaAnneKnits YouTube channel. I'm Bex, I'm a knitter from the Hutt Valley in Wellington, New Zealand, and this is my little corner of the internet where I love to share about all that I have been knitting on. Right at the top of the episode you can find me here on YouTube as RebeccaAnneKnits. I'm also over on Instagram and Ravelry by the same name, RebeccaAnneKnits. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a good month since I recorded last time. I've been meaning to get back to this for the last couple of weeks, but haven't quite found the time and space. But it's been a bit longer, so I have a bit more to share, so that's not all bad. So I'm just going to follow the regular normal format of a knitting YouTube podcast and talk you through my whips, my finished objects, my project plans, what I'm wearing, all of the above. Let's start at the top. What I am wearing, this is the City Dress slash City Dress tank by Tori Yu of Tori Knits NYC. As you can see, it's kind of a knee length dress. I started this at the end of last summer and didn't finish it. Got kind of to about here and then put it down and then picked it up again when I had a trip to Fiji in August last year. Because it is 70% cotton and 30% wool, it is Sheepy's Woolly Whirlet. Is what I made it out of, and it's really lovely except for the jarring line here where I tried to speed up the fading process and failed at getting it to blend and didn't realise until it was too late. But I'm pretending that didn't happen and I'm wearing it anyway. Today is actually a hot, sunny, summery day here in the Hutt Valley, which we have had very few of this summer, so I am making the most of it and wearing one of my very few cotton-based knits. I don't particularly like knitting with cotton. I just find it's very unforgiving and my stitches look way more uneven than they do in other projects, which is very disappointing. But anyway, I'm loving this dress and that's what I'm wearing today. I have some finished objects to share with you, which is very exciting. If you have been here with me before, you know that I was joining with Alana from Lupine Wool Store and I was doing a whip down, a like froggle finish kind of challenge through January, and I didn't get through as many of my whips as I had hoped to, but I did finish off quite a few and have hence cast on quite a few as February has progressed, that I would like to share with you what I did finish. First off, my big finished object is my Lanark sweater. This is a test knit I was doing for the Creabear and it was just released last Friday. Today is Wednesday. This was not a new pattern, but a revamp of her existing Lanark pattern. She added masculine and feminine sizing and also a stockinette version to the pattern. So I test knit the masculine size 4 for my husband, who happens to be 6'6", so he is quite large, well long but not wide. So here we go. It took a fair bit of knitting to get it done, but it is done. Isn't it gorgeous? So you've got that quarter zip detail, which I feel like I could have done better at sewing in, but it's not albeit terrible for my first ever try. Double thick collar and rib and then stockinette throughout. Slightly tapered sleeves. It is beautiful. I used a cone of yarn from Wool Yarns, who are a local merino and possum clothing factory, and once a year they sell off all their remnants on cones, and I brought a big 1 kilo cone of this wool and possum blend yarn from them a couple years ago and I used that. It took 800 grams, so about 1600 meters of DK weight to complete this. And I have a few other notes on my Ravelry page if you want to have a look. But I'm very happy. I'll put in a photo of my husband wearing it because obviously it fits him, not me. And I'll also put in the funny photo of when I tried it on when I was partway through knitting it, because it's literally, it just shows you how much bigger it is than what I would normally knit. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It fits him really well, and he won't wear it till the depths of winter, but he has assured me that he likes it. It looks polished and he will wear it. And I got some really nice compliments on it. I took it along to my spinning and weaving knitting group that I go to on a Tuesday, and they didn't even pick it up off the pile to show because they thought it looked so professional and machine knit that it wasn't actually hand knit. So I got some nice compliments that it turned out really nicely. The main comment that I would make is that I love how the yarn has blocked up, but honestly there was so much dye bleeding. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time, but my hands would turn black when I was knitting this yarn, and honestly I had to rinse the sweater. Like I put it into soak to block and just with some wash, and there was so much, like the water was black. So I ditched that, filled it up again, ditched that, filled it up again, and then I just like rinsed it under the tap until it like came clear-ish, because there was just so much excess dye in this yarn. But honestly it is blocked so beautifully. The fabric is just lovely and honestly does almost look machine knit. My stitches have turned out really beautiful. So I'm very happy with that finished object. Another thing I was trying to, I'm definitely going to make myself one to match. 100% can't wait to cast it on, but that's in the plan section. Another thing that I finished in my Froggle finish was my Sailor Swift tank. I started this in November as part of Alicia from Lovely Day Knits Kuruvakika knit along. So this is the Sailor Swift top by Kuruvakika, and I knit this in the solid yarn is Mama Wooling Plush Fingering in the colourway Smoky Quartz, and the variegated is from Skein Yarn. I don't know the colourway name, sorry. It's her sock base as well. And yeah, I really like it. It turned out really nice. It's a fingering weight singlet tank top. It fits really good. I could have made it longer, but it's long enough. I was obviously keen to get it finished. But yeah, no, I'm really happy, and I'm really happy. I'm not really a stripes person, and the whole kind of vibe of this pattern was that it was striped, and you can see that the solid stripes are slightly wider than the colourful stripes, and I love how closely toned these two colourways are, that they kind of just merge and don't look as stripy as they could. So I'm really happy with that, and I have to say, wearing a fingering weight garment is a delight. Knitting it takes a lot of patience, but actually wearing it, it's so nice, and a fingering weight is definitely more well suited for the hotter summer days. But we actually have a lot of medium temperature days here where I live, so this will get plenty of use as a layering piece potentially, or on its own. I was also working last time on my Rain or Shine socks, and I have since finished these. I forgot to bring my blockers out, so unfortunately I don't have my blockers to put them on, but look how cute these turned out. Aren't they just beautiful? I made these with a mini skein set plus some extras. So the most of them are from Rainbows and Sprinkles, a Australian based hand dyer out of Perth, I think, maybe, definitely Australian, and there's a couple of Mama Woolings thrown in there for good measure because that's who I am. And I just needed a couple more colours to make it feel cohesive, so I could just do the two repeats through. So this is the Rain or Shine socks by Stephen West, and I knit them to pattern, except for I didn't do a heel flap and gusset. I did my favourite shadow wrap heel, and they are so cute. They still look pristine because I've been too scared to wear them because they're just too pretty. So I haven't started wearing these ones yet, but at some point I will, because they are lovely and I just like admiring them. The other thing about these, which I think I mentioned last time, is that I got Summer Lee's sock knitting book for Christmas, and I used her yarn joining technique for these, which I've never done before, and so that you weave in your ends as you go, and you don't need to do a million ends at the which is really nice. So I don't know how well you can see that. There is still some little ends there because I haven't started wearing them or blocked them yet, so I'm expecting those to just pull in once they get stretched and worn a bit more. But hopefully they're all nice and secure, and the only ones that I had to sew in was when I kitchened the toe and the very start of the rib. So it made for a very pleasant knitting experience. They were very fun. And I did finish these before the 31st of January, as well as the Sailor Swift. I did not finish the Lanark by the 31st of January, but it did get done since I talked to you last. What else did I finish? Oh, another thing that was in my Froggle finish was my Knitting for Olive cami that I was making, based on the Ripple camisole by Jessie Made Designs. I was knitting it in this Dusty Artichoke Merino cotton from Knitting for Olive. I don't actually have it with me because it turned out too small for me, and I wasn't willing to frog it, and it wasn't going to fit me. So I finished it and gave it to one of my daughters. This is the beauty of having 3 daughters who are smaller in size than me, is that if something's turning out the wrong size, I can just pass it on if I'm happy to finish it, because I only had to do the top. You know, the triangles and the straps, and so I did that and I gave it to my daughter Cara. I'll pop in a photo of her wearing it because it fits her and she loves it. She's worn it heaps, and I think it's really nice. I held the Knitting for Olive double and did a DK weight, but I obviously messed up my stitch gauge conversion because it's definitely too petite for me. Maybe it would fit me as like a bralette, maybe, but I wasn't going to wear it that way. So anyway, that's gone to Cara and she's loving it. The other thing I finished was a pair of socks from one of the ladies at my spinning club. Did I share with you last time? I can't even remember what was in my last episode. It's been that long and I didn't go back and review it, I'm afraid. But I got gifted some yarn from one of the ladies at my spinning club who managed to buy it on special. I thought it was too good a deal to leave behind. And I said, I'm grateful to take it, but only if you let me knit the socks for you, because I own plenty of yarn of my own. She didn't know that, but anywho, so I knit her a pair of socks. I'll put in a photo if I took one. I hope I took one before I gifted them, because I have since gifted them to her on Tuesday at Spinning Club, and she was really grateful, and actually without even knowing that I was going to be gifting them to her that day, she gifted me back a little flax kitty that she had woven with some beautiful lanolin hand cream in it. So that was so lovely. We both had mutual loved gifts, so that was very cool. Yeah, so I think that's all the things that I have actually finished. Yeah, that's all the things that I have finished since I spoke to you last. I mean, I had 10 days off work, which were very busy and full of family, and my kids starting back at school and my husband being overseas, but I spent like all my time knitting on that Lanark. I mean, I think the sleeves are 12 centimeters longer than recommended in the pattern, and the body about the same. They just go on forever. It took a long time, so a lot of knitting hours went into that. Since having that time off work and going back to work, I discovered that one of my manager colleagues is going on a massive hike around Europe this year in August, and she loves woolen socks for her hiking trips, and so I volunteered to knit her some socks, and she very gratefully accepted that. She said, oh, I've got some wool at home I can give to you and you can knit it into socks then, and I was like, sure, no problem. And so she sends me a photo of this yarn, and she's like, will this be good for socks? And I'm like, seems okay. It's 100% wool, it doesn't have any nylon, but it should be alright. But what I couldn't tell from the photo, because she didn't give me photos of the labels, is that it's DK. 100% wool, non-superwash. So probably not the most ideal sock yarn, but I'm knitting her socks anyway. So I have completed the first one and I'm about halfway through the second one. So this is the first sock. Really should have brought my blockers. I have actually made the leg a little bit short, but I do think that these are going to be too thick for her to wear inside her hiking boots, and so she'll probably just wear them more as house socks, but we will see. This is called Cozy Wool by Maker. It's 100% wool, and it's a hand wash. 100 grams, and made in China. Lovely, my favourite type. No. Anyways, so anyway, it's knitting up nicely enough. So this is how it started, and this is how the sock is ending up. I subbed, you can see I've got a contrast heel and toe. I subbed in some, don't have the label, but Waikiwi, which I have in my stash, which is a discontinued but gorgeous sock yarn. That's a New Zealand based merino nylon alpaca and possum blend. And I have this colour here, which I thought toned in beautifully with the colourway that she had given me. So I have knit one sock here. Yeah, I think the leg is just a little bit too short. She's got a similar foot size to me, so I can show it on, try it on. Here we go. And I think like the tramping boot will come up to about here, so I think it's just a little bit short. But anyway, one done, and I'm just finished going through the heel on the second one. So I've just got the foot and the toe to go on those. And because I thought, well, this is going to be too thick, and the socks that I was knitting when she started admiring what I was doing and asking about sock knitting were fingering weight socks, the ones I did for the spinning group. So I thought that's actually what she wants. She just doesn't know that's what she wants. So I have started knitting her, well, basically finished knitting her a fingering weight pair as well. I did the leg slightly longer on this. I've got a 60 stitch sock with 20 rounds of rib and 15 rows of rib and 20 rows, gosh, guys, I can't speak. 15 rows of rib, 60 rows of leg, my regular heel, shadow wrap heel, and then 60 rows for the foot and then the toe. And for this I used a Zubable Crazy that I had just in my stash, that I had started knitting a shawl with once upon a time and never finished. And I used a contrast heel, toe and cuff because I knew the Zubable was never going to match. It doesn't really repeat, and so I wanted them to look like a pair still. And so I used some of this, which is just a remnant from my stash, which is an incognito yarn from Skeins. It is a silk and Polworth and nylon blend, I believe. It is the same as this one, except for that the one I'm using is an undyed version. 70% fine merino, 20% possum and 10% nylon. So this is what it looked like in the skein, but obviously undyed. I used this to make my Paul Klee sweater, which I made a couple years ago, as my main colour, and I had most of the skein left over. So I'm using that as my heel, toe and cuff. The Zubable does have nylon. It is a wool nylon sock yarn, but I just thought it was nice to have that, again, neutral, natural, but just blending the two, because here's the other one. I've like literally got about 8 rows on the toe left to go of the second sock. I've had to do a bit more yarn management on this one, which is disappointing, but I've got a few more ends to weave in, whereas this one I managed to make it through with just not having to do that at all. But as you can see, they are definitely from the same ball, but they don't exactly match, because the colours just don't repeat per se, they just kind of fade through similar tones. So anyway, having the matching heel, toe and cuff, I'm hoping will make them feel enough like a pair. And all my workmates, I've been working on these at work, because I took them in to check that they would actually fit, and they do. And yes, everyone's been admiring the colours. Now I've just realised that I said I did 60 stitches for my DK socks. That is a complete and utter lie. I did 60 stitches for this pair of socks. For the DK ones I did 48 stitches. Makes much more sense. I kind of followed the stitch counts from the Crazy Sock Lady's free DK vanilla sock pattern. And I normally do 56 stitches for myself, but I find when I'm gifting socks I like to do 60 or 64. I did 64 for the Spinning Club one because I know that lady has slightly fuller calves. This lady has very slim ankles and legs, and I found that the Zuba Ball is actually quite a fine fingering weight. It's like a light fingering weight. It felt thinner to knit up than my normal sock yarns do, and I'm using my normal needles 2.25mm on Magic Loop, and so I did 60 stitches, so in betweeny, and they fitted good. One thing to note actually is that I brought a pair of knitting needles. I've been primarily using the 10cm tips from Chargoo, and either on a fixed, like on my interchangeable needles. And when my handbag and my sock knitting got stolen and I needed to replace my pair of sock needles, I decided to try the the next size up longer tip, so that I can put them on my mini cable. Because what I was finding was when I was knitting, because I knit continental, my hand would lean right on this join here, right at the edge of the join is where my hand rested, and I was actually breaking the needle off right here and snapped multiple cords, which is very annoying because they're not free. So I thought if I do the longer tip, maybe that will be better, and actually it absolutely is. So now when I knit, my hand sits within the metal shaft and not on the join. So I'm finding that so much better, and I still have a few mini cables that I haven't busted. So I will be watching out for that in the future, and if I need to buy more tips, I will definitely buy the longer length. I think when you buy a fixed circular pair, they actually are the longer tips anyway. Sorry, my face is very itchy today and my hay fever is playing up. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, the fixed ones are longer anyway, because I've been using the fixed ones, but the fixed ones come with the normal sized cable, whereas I find if I use the mini cable, I have even less risk of laddering. There we go. I learned something. I'm doing 3mm for the DK socks, by the way. So that's my current sock knitting. These literally just need the tiniest bit finished off and all the ends. The DK ones just need the foot done, and then I will be able to wash and block those and gift them to my friend. Her trip is not till August, so she may well get another pair of socks before she actually goes, but that's enough for now. I do have one other pair of socks that were on my needles before I picked up doing the ones for my workmate, and I finished one of these and barely started the second one. These I'm just calling my handbag socks. They're not even in my handbag at the moment because my workmate's ones are, I think I've shown these before, but I have one finished sock here. The dark blue is from Mama Willing, and the beautiful colour in between is from Skeins. And I just have the cuff and the Estonian braid done on this one and nothing else. So they will, I'll get back to them when I've finished my workmates ones before I cast on any other pairs. I will try and finish this pair, and this is just a pair for me, just some shorties. I did that Estonian braid on my gnome when it was in progress, and I just thought it inspired me to think, oh, that would be a lovely little colour transition on the cuff of a sock. So that's what inspired me to cast these on like Christmas Eve or something, just completely spontaneously. And because they have no timeline and they're not a gift, they just keep getting bumped by other things. But that's fine, because I'm not in whip down mode anymore. I'm definitely in whip up mode. Part of what motivated me to finish the Lanark was the knowledge that when I finished the lanark I could cast on something new. And the weekend that I was working on the lanark non-stop was the weekend that Ariandel by RebeccaAnneKnits was released. And so I've been waiting for this pattern for a long time because I had yarn in my stash that I had earmarked for it already, and I was so excited to cast on an Ariandel. I applied for the test knit but didn't get picked for that one, which I'm not sad about because that meant I could do the lanark when I did get picked for that. So this is my Ariandel that I cast on as soon as I cast off the lanark. It is by Rebecca of the RebeccaAnneKnits, and apart from the lanark re-release, this is her most recent pattern. I have just today split for sleeves, so it's in a bit of a weird state right here, but I'm going to show it to you. Isn't it so cool? Oh, honestly, I mean, when you look at the wool behind me, you don't really see green showing up very prominently, but I do so love an apple green. Honestly, my bridesmaids at my wedding wore this, a colour very similar to this. Although I wouldn't class it as my favourite colour, it is definitely one I absolutely love. I love this cable yoke. It just looks like Lord of the Rings, like crossed with a cathedral. I just love it. It's so beautiful. I have a visitor. One momento, please. Sorry, I had an interruption from my daughter. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they're inside having their after school screen time and afternoon tea, so I was trying to squeeze this little recording in. It was not surprising I was going to get interrupted. Anyway, Ariandel, I just adore it. I just adore it. I'll put in a photo that I took of more of a close-up of the yoke because it just looks so amazing when it's stretched out on the body. Yeah, I'm just delighted. So I've just separated for sleeves like 1 row ago, and I tried it on just to take a photo, and yeah, now I've just got to knit down the body and knit the sleeves, and this gorgeous little cable repeat is repeated at the edge on the cuffs, just before the cuffs, so I'm excited for that. I am using, to knit this, my all-time favourite sock yarn, well, apart from Mama Woolly, my all-time favourite commercial sock yarn that is no longer produced, that you've heard me talk about already today. Oh, it's got stuck on the zipper. Waikiwi. This label is a bit obscured. Same as I'm using for my Workmates toes. Waikiwi. It's a made in New Zealand yarn, and it is, like I said, 55% merino, 20% nylon, 15% alpaca, and 10% possum. And I bought this on a D-stash. Somebody obviously brought it on clearance from Spotlight at some point for $12 a ball. I can't remember what I paid for it, but less than that for sure. And I bought 5 balls of this fingering weight yarn on D-stash because I actually really like apple green and it's Waikiwi. And I was thinking at least I'll make socks out of it, and I don't care if I have bright green socks. But I'm using this for the Ariandel, and I am holding it with, oh, you can't actually see, but on top of my yarn shells, if I tilt the camera, you might be able to see that I have a whole collection of cones up there. And from Wool Yarns Remnant Sale and Amy from Yarn on Cones, that's where I get them all from. I have a cone of beige mohair. So I am using that along with this because it's a DK weight gauge. And I did do a gauge swatch. Can you believe it? Because I was waiting to cast it on and I hadn't finished lanark, and I just needed to do something to help myself get through the lanark, so I did the gauge swatch. And I tried some different mohair combinations. I did the one I originally chose is the one down the bottom, and I did it with a more whiter one, which I didn't like because it was too marly, and then I did it with a soft green, which gave no contrast, and then I did it with double stranded of the beige, and that was too dark. So I went back to the original in the end, but with a different needle size to get the right gauge. And I'm so happy with it. Like, I'm so happy. I just feel like, as much as I love this colour, I love it even more with just the slight softening that beige mohair gives. And it doesn't look mild. This is a really fine weight mohair. It's you know, the ones that you buy are usually like 400 meters to 50 grams. So 800 meters to 100 grams. This one is more like 1,000 to 1,200 meters for 100 grams. And it doesn't have silk, it has a nylon core. It is, I think, Chinese made. All of Amy's from Yarn on Cones' cones are different. If I can find it, tell you exactly what the composition of that one is. Oh no, I think it's in the house. I don't have it here. I took it inside because I'm just winding off with my ball winder another little cake every time that I need some more, so I don't have to carry around too much at once, because I'm just keeping it in this gorgeous little Kiwiana Piwaka Waka Kiwi Kiruru pouch. This is felted New Zealand wool that I brought in Queenstown. Yeah, so I just love it. I just love it, and it's going to be so glorious and gorgeous and warm, but not too heavy, and it's just a fun colour. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get that one finished ASAP, because once I have finished this, I will cast on, I'm going to hopefully get this one done in March, so that by the time we get to April, I can cast on a Lanark stockinette for myself, a zipper sweater, to match my husband's, because we have a little couples trip to Queenstown planned at the end of April, and I would love us to have his and hers jerseys that you can't tell that are the same, but are the same. Mine is going to be hot pink. Well, deep magenta. It's blowing out a bit. It's a bit more moody than that in real life. Nope, still blowing out. I've got funny side lighting here today. It's darker than what you can see on camera, but this is it, which is, why am I talking about a plan in the middle of a whip? I'm very distracted today. This I also brought on a D-stash, surprise, surprise. This is Miss Babs, which is a US dyer, hand dyer, and this is 80% Polworth, 15% silk, and it's 320 meters to 100 grams. So it's a light DK. Yes, hand dyed in Mountain City, Tennessee. Miss Babs. I've heard about her on Knitty Natty. I brought this on a D-stash, so I have 4 of these. One caked already, and that will be my Lanark eventually. But I need to make some headway on Ariandel first. Put my super ball crazy back up there. What else did I want to say about whips? Is that all my whips? No, I have one other whip. I keep being distracted on the plans. Can you tell I have so much creative energy at the moment? I just want to make all the things, and I actually have to go to work and care for my family and can't knit full time, and it's very sad. My other whip was a real spontaneous cast on, and this is actually a crochet project. I was visiting my knitting bestie in Fielding the other day, and we were just looking at her yarn stash, as you do, admiring yarns. I had a big clear out of my yarn stash, and I gifted some things to her, and so we were filing them away. And we came across all this yarn that she had, mountains of, and that she hadn't really got a use for, and we were talking about what should she do with it. It is called Mahana, and it is 90% alpaca and 10% wool, and this was made by Skeins, who had a worsted spun mill in Napier, New Zealand. Their mill is no longer, but their yarn store is still in business. And this is undyed alpaca yarn. Now, they did a huge clearance on this a couple of years ago and were selling it at $2 a ball, which was just wildly cheap. Ridiculous. Like, their retail price is like $8 a ball for the dyed shades, and then they had these natural shades for $2 a ball. So she bought like bulk packs, like 20 of each colour. And it feels quite soft in the ball, but when you wear it, it is hecka itchy. It still has the guard hairs. They are long alpaca guard hairs. This is not Surrey alpaca, it's whatever the other one is called. And these still these long, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, long guard hairs. And they come out, but it's just quite itchy. And we've decided it is not wise to make a garment out of this because it will itch. It will 100% itch, and it's really drapey because it's mostly alpaca. It doesn't have a lot of memory, so we just decided it's not a garment yarn. So it's like, well, should I just de-stash it? Shall I sell it? What should I do? I mean, I only paid $2 a ball, so like I'm not going to get much money back from passing it on. What could I use it for? I said, you know what it should be? It should be a crochet blanket. And she doesn't have the capacity to make a crochet blanket, though she could. And I said, you know what? That sounds really fun. Send some balls of it home with me and I will make you a crochet blanket. So I started. And I was originally going to do granny squares in all the 3 different colours, and then I decided that I could not be asked sewing together another granny square blanket. So I am just doing an ever increasing granny square blanket. My hook has come out and it's about to undo itself. Here we go. So this is, I got really obsessed with it for the first couple days after I came back from that trip, and then have been distracted by those socks. So this is where we are. I am doing, it's looking real 70s, eh? But it's a really nice natural colours, and I'm just doing 2 rows each of just double crochet, ever increasing granny square. And she wants it to be a lap blanket, like she has a lazy boy chair that she sits on at home in the evenings. And she was just like a lovely nice blanket that she can cozy up under in her chair on the cooler nights. And so I need to make it, probably it's about 1/3 finished, I reckon. She gave me, I think, 4 of each of these balls, and that's going to make a gigantic blanket if I use that much. A fingering weight, and each 50-gram ball has 200 meters. And yeah, it just isn't taking that much to grow. It's lovely, hey, it's really soothing, enjoyable crochet. Really mindless, really fun. Not my colours. I would be really uninspired having this in my home, these colours. It's just not me. But Helen likes them, and oh, it itches. I just don't even like doing that. I'm going to give it a really good block. When I wash and block it when it's finished, I'm going to soak it, I think, in hot water with some like dish soap, and see if I can like get rid of all the extra guard hairs and the bit of lanolin. It doesn't have lanolin because it's alpaca, but it just kind of feels a bit minimally processed. And then I might give it a second block in warm water with hair conditioner, and just see if I can just smooth down those fibres and make it feel just a little bit nice. I'd also like it to bloom, which is why I want to use the hot water, because it is quite light, and I think it will be warm, but it's quite thin. I possibly could have used it double stranded, but I didn't think about that. I really didn't think it was going to go so far. But yeah, I'm really enjoying making this. It's really mindless. It's a really great TV crochet. I actually can't crochet without looking. I'm not as proficient at crochet as I am at knitting, but I'm really enjoying just going round and round. Great car crochet for meetings, that kind of stuff. Probably come on my night shifts with me to be worked on at work, because you don't really need any brain power, you just need time. I'm using a 4mm hook. I have these ones by Knit Pro. I have a set of these. 4mm is what I'm using, even though it's only fingering weight, because I did want it to kind of be light and drapey and not too dense, because I find some crochet blankets end up really dense, and that's not what I wanted for this. And that, my friends, is all of my active whips. I obviously still have some UFOs that didn't get finished in the Froggle finish, which is a little disappointing, but I will get back to them. I have 4 outstanding whips that I'm not currently working on, but I will finish. And I did talk about these last episode, so I won't go back into it much, but I still have my Pressed Flowers cardigan in Marmalade yarn, co-yarn. I have my Night Shift shawl in Pulse from Skeins. I have my Stella quilt blanket in yarn from Knit Crate, merino cashmere Knit Crate yarn, along with lots and lots and lots of pink and coral and purple scraps. And I have my Kip sweater, which is a test knit that never got the second sleeve, which is too small for me in reality, but my daughter Cara tried it on and she really likes it, so I've decided I will finish that sleeve over the autumn/winter, and she can have that. It's knit in this, which is Highland Heathers from Skeins, and this is called Scotch Mist, this beautiful heathery pale blue. So those 4 are still alive, but just in hibernation until I get some of these things moving along. Gosh, I feel like I've been talking for ages already. 41 minutes. I thought this was going to be short. I'm going to try and do more frequent and shorter episodes, I think. It will maybe be more attainable. Anyway, let's finish out this one. My only other plan, other than the Lanark for myself, that's an imminent plan. That's definitely going to happen, because I'd love to have that done by the end of April, is I promised my sisters that I would knit them something this year, and they sent me their requests, and I would like to get started on the one for my sister Jess. Now, she lives in Christchurch, and she's actually coming to babysit my children while we go to Queenstown. And so I would quite like to also have it done by then. I don't know if that's really attainable or not. But she would like a slip over, a full colourwork slip over. And so I'm not sure if I talked about this prior or not, but I'll just run through it again. I've picked a pattern. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it up here. I'm going to use this pattern because I like the colourwork motif. It has the right amount of colours for the yarns I've picked from my stash, and it's the right weight of yarn for what I've picked from my stash. My sister would like the V-neck to be a little bit deeper than it is in this pattern, so we're going to try and modify for that. But otherwise, knit to pattern, and maybe the rib a little bit shorter than it is, so I might add in an extra couple of colourwork repeats. We'll see. So what I'm going to use is Brushtail Upcycled Merino Possum. This is going to be my main colour. I have 500 metres of this, and this is 30% possum and 70% merino. Okay, so that's my base colour, background colour, and then I have these from Skeins, which are natural fibre with possum. Doesn't have percentages because these were a kind of a remnant clearance situation. Wool possum blend, yeah. Natural fibres with possum. These are my 3 colours here, main colours. This is all fingering weight, so that goes together. And then for the pop, this one here, which is Bohemia Light from Outlaw Yarn, which is also a possum. This one has alpaca too. Polworth alpaca possum blend. So this is like coral, and so it's going to be hard to hold all of them together. The dark blue is my least favourite. It doesn't fit the inspo pick quite as well, so it will definitely be these 4. And if I need it for meterage or just for another colour option, I'll have that dark blue as well. So yeah, I can put in a picture also of what her inspiration picture was that she sent me, that this is how she would love it to turn out, and that's where I got the colour story from. I wouldn't naturally put these colours together myself, but it looks really amazing in this garment, this ready-made garment that she found the picture of. So I'm going to mimic that as much as I can with the colour work motifs that are in the pattern I picked. This is just some leftovers from something that I made, don't even remember, but the others are all full balls, and because it's a slip over, it doesn't have sleeves, I should have enough meterage. I just have one ball of each of this in the tealy one and 2 balls of this. I have more of this, but this is my least favourite colour in the mix, but it should be okay. I've looked at the measurements. I'm going to make, I think, there's a lot of sizes in this pattern. So I can't exactly remember what size it is, but she's maybe, if I'm a size 10 to 12, she's kind of a size 14 to 16. So, yeah, I need to make a couple sizes up from what I would make myself. But it is supposed to be a relatively fitted vest, so it doesn't need to be super oversized. But it is full colour work, so it's going to be quite a big project. So I do need to get started on it. But I looked up the pattern after I brought it, and I looked at the cast on, and it's like 360 stitches because it's bottom up, and that's just not very inspiring, casting on 360 stitches. So I'm gonna make some progress on my Ariandel, and when I'm getting bored of just stocking it in the round on my Ariandel, I'll cast it on. That's my plan. Oh my gosh, I need a drink. This is way too much talking, guys. I'm just going to quickly show you my acquisitions that I got over the last couple of weeks. Now, I know, if you've been here before, you heard me say this is the year that I am not going to be buying much more yarn, that I'm only going to buy yarn in person, in real life, not online. Blown it already, guys. I blew it completely. With permission from my husband, I haven't been shopping on the sly, but I have brought some things, and with pre-approval, not going into any debt here, guys, just spending my discretionary spending money on yarn that I don't need, but I really fell in love with. My husband went away for work on a trip to Melbourne, and he didn't get a chance to do any shopping or bring home any gifts, and so he came home and said, oh, you can do some yarn shopping then. I'm like, yay, I'm a winner. So what I got is, I had seen online that, sorry, it's very quickly, what are they called? Logan Side Alpacas had put up these, oh sorry about the crinkles, beautiful mini skein fade sets, and I just couldn't, this is what I wanted. So I ordered this one, and I thought it was going to be more pink, but it's actually quite purple. See here, even on my screen now, it looks more pink, but in reality, it's quite purple. And I absolutely adore it, but it wasn't what I thought I was buying, because colours and screens are a thing. Now, this seller does not sell in person ever. They don't have a physical store, they don't go to yarn shows, they don't go to market stalls, they only sell online. And so that's what got me, guys. So I was like, but I can only get it if I buy one online. And so I brought it anyway. Once that arrived, I was like, I should have brought the other one then. I should have, asked you to do a comparison and seen which one I want more. I love the purpley one, but I actually have a few garments in very similar colours to this already. And what really sparked my attention was pink. And so I then ordered the pink set. This is the fuchsia set, which is darker than it looks on screen. It's not quite as Barbie as it appears there, but yes, this beautiful fade. Each 25 grams, and so you end up with 1,000 meters of fingering weight in this stunning fade. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with them yet, but I know that I will find something. I know that I have mohair in my stash that will match these pinks through the gradient. So I will do some kind of gradient sweater with it. I might even do like rain or shine like the socks, but do it in the sweater version or something. Haven't decided 100% yet, but they're beautiful. I love them, and they're not alpaca, even though the brand shop name is alpaca. They are a merino nylon sock, so I can use them for anything. While I was shopping, and she had a sale on, I picked these up as well because my husband said that I could. I'm not sure if you'll see the, oh, you can kind of see. This is a really softly subtle natural cream with some greys and some very soft pinks, and I brought 2 skeins of this, also in her sock yarn fingering weight, because this particular colorway is called Baby Bunnies. And if anyone has met my daughter Cara, who is very knitworthy, she's the one I gifted the singlet to. She is obsessed with bunny rabbits. We don't own a bunny rabbit. She doesn't have a real one, but she loves all things bunny rabbits. And so when she saw that this was Baby Bunnies, and she had already requested from me a white fluffy sweater this year for winter, I thought this would be perfect to just give a little bit of colour in the background. So it's not quite so stark white. The colourway name stole her heart. And I'm going to pair it with the leftovers I have, not this, from my Hoolie blanket, which this is DK Wet brushed merino from Ashford's. So I'm going to hold that with this, and it's going to be the fluffiest baby bunny sweater. If you've been around for a while, a couple of years ago, I made Solar by Hohi Locatelli, which is a round yoke cabled sweater at a similar gauge to what this will be. And I thought what I'm going to do for Cara is to make a Solar, make the smallest size because it's for my 10-year-old, and sub out the beautiful knot cable that she has going down it for there's a cable pattern that you can do that looks like a bunny rabbit. I was like, how cute would it be to have a bunny rabbit cabled yoke in like a soft, subtle pastel white, and then plain sweater for the rest of it. It'll be stunning. I'm actually really excited to knit that for her. And she's so knitworthy, and it uses new yarn and stash yarn. So I'm very excited to knit that up. I also bought one other thing. Spoiled much. I really should stop buying yarn, but I really can't. And you know what? It's doing no one no harm, so I'm going to keep doing it. I also brought this recycle blend from Wild Earth Yarns. As you know, I've brought many of these colours before, but they released a new one, and it's this really, you can't see anything through the plastic X. It's like this slate grey and, sorry about the crinkling, navy blue. It's this really deep, smoky blue. Oh, I adore it, with little flecks because it's recycled. Oh my gosh, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. I have 2 sweater quantities that I already have plans for. I have this pink one here that I'm going to make a Tora U design with her Prospect pullover. And I have a sage green one down here that I'm going to make a Rebecca Chloe pattern with. What's that one called? Why has it left me? I'll put it up here. I'm going to make the Rebecca Chloe one with the sage green. And this, I didn't know when I bought it what I was going to make, but I saw a pattern today for this stunning cardigan that was knit in a more grey, slightly more grey tone than this, but oh, it's so cool. And I'm like, that's what this is going to become, is that grey cardigan. So, see, I have plans. I just don't have enough time in the day. So, guys, I better end it here. It's been 54 minutes of me rambling about my knitting, which some of it was new, but most of it you'd heard about before. I am so stoked to be back. I would really love to try and build my YouTube channel this year. I would really like to try and be more present here on YouTube and on my Instagram. So if you're out there and you would like to support this little crazy midwife in the Hutt Valley who just loves to knit and talk about it and buy obscene amounts of yarn, please feel free to like or subscribe. Please feel free to leave me a comment or a question below. Please feel free to share my videos, to add me on Instagram, to like my projects on Ravelry, any or none of the above, whatever floats your boat. I just really appreciative for any support, and I'm really hoping that I will be able to be a bit more present here and bring you at least monthly, if not fortnightly, videos here on YouTube about what I'm knitting, planning to knit, and what I am purchasing. I'm going to 3 yarn shows this year. I'm going to the Capital Fibre Fest, and I'm going to Wool Fest in Auckland, and I'm going to Yarn Fest in Christchurch. And so I'll have lots of knitting content to share with you throughout the year. So I'm really hoping to maybe build this just a little bit more. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much if you've watched my video, and I look forward to being back again soon to talk to you about more knitty, woolly goodness. I appreciate you so much. Happy knitting. Enjoy your time with your craft, whatever that is. And I'll catch you again sometime in March. Ka kite anō.